Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to Jinjin's Cosmic. If you didn't happen to be here, perhaps it's time to meet your soul. In our last video, we covered the what of the Scorpio, their intense loyalty, their mysterious power, and their dual nature of kindness and danger. But knowing the traits is just the surface. The real question is why? Why is their loyalty so absolute? Why is their calm often more dangerous than their rage? Today, we're not just listing traits. We are decoding the deep psychology behind them. We're moving beyond the what to finally understand the why of the Scorpio soul. Before we begin, comment with your zodiac sign and the biggest misconception people have about your motivations. Now, let's dive deeper. The gravity of emotion. Scorpios do not inhabit the shallow end of the emotional pool. In fact, they are psychologically incapable of it. Their feelings are not light, fleeting sensations that skim the surface of their consciousness. They are powerful, all-consuming currents that originate in the deepest trenches of their soul. When a Scorpio loves, they perform a complete emotional merger. They invest every part of their mind, body, and spirit into the connection, creating a bond that can feel both exhilarating in its intensity and intimidating in its totality. This is the very reason why relationships with Scorpios are so often described as unforgettable, life-altering events. Their emotional depth makes you feel more alive, more seen, and more connected than ever before. But this same law of emotional gravity applies to all feelings, most notably to pain. When a Scorpio is wounded, they do not merely feel sad or angry. They experience a complex, layered, and crushing weight of betrayal, disillusionment, loss, and profound disappointment, all at once. They do not get over things quickly or easily. They must retreat into their internal world to perform what can only be described as an emotional autopsy. They will replay every word, every action, and every moment, meticulously analyzing the chain of events that led to the breach. This process is not about wallowing in victimhood, it is about integration. They are taking the pain and integrating it into their being, transforming it from a raw wound into a permanent scar, a lesson etched into their very soul that will forever remind them of the danger. This immense emotional weight becomes a form of psychic fuel. You cannot control or manipulate someone who experiences everything with such profound gravity. Their reactions, which might seem disproportionate or overly dramatic to an outsider, are, from their perspective, perfectly proportional to the depth of their inner world. If they build a fortress-like wall, it is because the wound they sustained was deep enough to warrant it. Their emotions are not their weakness. They are the very source of their immense power. And when that power is carelessly or maliciously mishandled by others, the fallout can be emotionally nuclear. The infallible intuition. Beyond the realms of logic and tangible evidence, a Scorpio's primary and most trusted navigational tool is their intuition. It is a highly tuned internal compass, a form of psychic sonar that is constantly pinging, sending out signals and reading the emotional feedback of their environment. They possess a gut feeling about people and situations that is remarkably and often frighteningly accurate. They can sense hidden agendas, detect the subtle frequencies of emotional dishonesty, and feel when a situation is about to turn dangerous, long before any concrete proof has emerged. This makes them almost impossible to lie to with any degree of success. You could construct the most elaborate and convincing narrative, but they will feel the inauthenticity. They will notice the micro-expression you thought you concealed, the almost imperceptible hesitation in your voice, or the discordant energy you are trying to suppress. They may not know the specific details of your deception, but they will know, with an unshakable and cellular certainty, that something is fundamentally wrong. This intuitive prowess makes them seem almost clairvoyant at times. They have learned, through a lifetime of experience, to trust this inner voice implicitly, often placing more faith in it than in so-called objective facts. Their life has taught them that feelings are facts, and that their intuition is the most reliable intelligence they have. If a Scorpio tells you they have a bad feeling about a person or a deal, it is an act of profound wisdom to listen. When they are provoked or betrayed, this intuition is what allows them to see the situation with devastating clarity. They are not easily misled by crocodile tears, convoluted excuses, or gaslighting tactics. Their intuition acts like a laser, cutting through all the noise and illuminating the core truth of your character and your actions. Once their instinct has delivered its verdict on you, there is very little you can do to appeal the decision. You cannot outsmart an opponent who isn't playing on the same logical chessboard. Their intuition is their guide, and once it has identified you as a threat, it will guide them away from you with ruthless efficiency. The emotional ledger. A Scorpio's mind functions like a meticulous and permanent emotional ledger. While they may, through great effort, offer forgiveness as a conscious act of releasing themselves from the poison of resentment, they never, ever forget the betrayal. The memory of a transgression is not stored as a simple, detached fact. It is imprinted and archived with the full, unadulterated emotional charge of the moment it occurred. They remember not just what you did, but the specific look in your eye when you did it, the precise tone of your voice, and the exact way it made their soul feel, as if it were fracturing. This detailed emotional recall is not for the purpose of holding a petty grudge. It is a highly sophisticated defense mechanism. Each betrayal becomes a critical data point that helps them construct a more accurate and secure map of the world and the people within it. They might even grant you a second chance. But make no mistake, you will be on a very short leash, under constant, quiet surveillance, as they watch to see if the toxic pattern repeats. The danger lies in what happens if that pattern does repeat itself. If they are pushed to a point where they conclude that a response is not just warranted, but necessary for their own survival, that response will not be an impulsive tantrum. It will be a strategic strike, fueled by a deep well of remembered pain and executed with the precision of a master surgeon. They will draw upon every entry in that emotional ledger, and their actions will be perfectly and devastatingly calibrated to the severity of the accumulated wounds. You cannot manipulate someone who possesses a perfect, emotionally detailed, and cross-referenced record of your past behavior. They do not seek revenge for sport or pleasure. But if they are cornered and feel their well-being is at stake, they will use everything they know to strategically neutralize the threat you represent. Their memory is their shield, and, only when absolutely necessary, their most formidable weapon. The fearless confrontation. Scorpios are not conflict averse. They are chaos averse. They derive no pleasure from pointless arguments, dramatic shouting matches, or messy emotional spectacles. However, if a confrontation is deemed necessary to address a serious transgression, to defend a boundary, or to speak a critical truth, they will not hesitate. They will walk directly into the fire with a calm, controlled, and unnerving intensity. When a Scorpio confronts you, they rarely resort to raising their voice. Instead, the opposite often happens. Their voice may become quiet, steady, and imbued with an undeniable weight. They will hold your gaze with an unnerving focus, and they will articulate the issue with piercing, surgical clarity. They strip away all the emotional static and present you with the cold, hard facts of your actions and the precise emotional consequences those actions have caused. Their presence alone in these moments can feel like an immense pressure, capable of silencing an entire room. This is what makes them so intimidating in a direct conflict. You cannot overpower them with volume or aggressive posturing. You cannot deflect their focus with excuses or justifications. They have come for the truth, and they will stand their ground with unshakable resolve until it is brought into the light. Their confrontations are not chaotic. They are purposeful. They are designed to achieve a specific outcome, to resolve a core issue, to firmly re-establish a boundary, or to declare a definitive end. This unyielding directness is extremely dangerous to those who rely on manipulation, passive aggression, or gaslighting as their primary tools. A Scorpio will slice through those tactics as if they were mist. They don't engage in the fight to score points or to win in a conventional sense. They engage to reclaim their power and restore a sense of order to their universe. Their fearlessness is not born from arrogance. It is a direct byproduct of their profound emotional honesty. When they confront you, you will never have to guess where you stand. They will make it perfectly, and often uncomfortably, clear. The peril of their calm, when faced with a sudden crisis, a shocking betrayal, or an eruption of chaos. A Scorpio's immediate reaction is one of the most misunderstood and dangerous aspects of their personality. While most people would respond with panic, visible anger, or loud distress, a Scorpio often does the exact opposite. They go completely, utterly, and chillingly calm. This calm is not a sign of peace. It is not an indication of forgiveness. It is the eye of the hurricane. It is a clear signal that their entire being has shifted into a state of high alert, hyper-focused, strategic calculation. While you are still reeling from the chaos of the event, their mind is already operating at warp speed, assessing the damage, analyzing attack vectors, identifying weaknesses, and formulating a multi-step, long-term response. Their silence is the sound of a supercomputer processing terabytes of emotional and strategic data. This profound stillness is terrifying for those who make the fatal mistake of interpreting it as weakness or surrender. They might foolishly believe they've gotten away with their transgression, only to discover much later that the Scorpio was simply using that period of calm to gather their strength, marshal their resources, and plan their countermove with painstaking detail. You cannot control an individual who remains preternaturally composed while the world is burning down around them. When they finally decide to act, their move is never a messy, emotional outburst. It is a clean, decisive, and brutally effective strike. it comes with the full focused force of their accumulated pain and strategic thought. Their calm is infinitely more dangerous than any rage because it is the silent prelude to a final, deliberate, and irreversible action. You will not receive a warning shot. You will simply experience the consequences, long after they quietly decided on your fate in the deafening silence of their calm. The master of the hidden hand. Scorpios are the grandmasters of emotional regulation and self-containment. You can spend an entire evening with them, sharing laughter and engaging in what feels like a deep, intimate conversation, and walk away with absolutely no inkling of the internal storm they might be weathering. They possess a psychological poker face that would make a world champion feel inadequate. This incredible control is not born from a desire to be cold or deceptive. It is rooted in a profound and hard-won understanding that vulnerability is a sacred privilege. They believe that their innermost thoughts, their deepest fears, and their most fragile feelings are precious commodities, to be shared only with those who have proven themselves worthy and trustworthy over a significant period. They are, at all times, protecting their core from being weaponized, misunderstood, or casually dismissed. This powerful self-containment makes them appear stable, resilient, and unshakable. But what people often fail to comprehend is that underneath this controlled and placid surface, immense pressure can be building. They don't overreact to small provocations or minor slights. They absorb them. They file them away in their emotional ledger. But like a geological fault line, there is a limit to the pressure it can withstand. When that limit is finally and catastrophically breached, the calm facade doesn't just crack, it shatters into a million pieces. All the accumulated pain, the catalogued disrespect, and the stored disappointment can be released in a single, overwhelming surge of power. This might manifest as a brutally honest verbal takedown that exposes every one of your weaknesses. A permanent and silent cutting of all ties, or a devastatingly strategic move that dismantles your social or professional standing because they have held back for so long. The eventual release is complete, final, and often shocking in its intensity. Their control is so dangerous because it masterfully masks the true extent of their displeasure until it is far, far too late for apologies or repairs. The all-or-nothing passion Scorpios are constitutionally incapable of approaching life with mediocrity. They cannot do things by halves. Their fundamental approach to existence is one of total, unconditional immersion. Whether it's a career path, a creative endeavor, a friendship, or a romantic relationship, they are all in. Their passion is not a gentle flame. It is a raw, consuming, and deeply focused fusion reaction that animates everything they touch. This is precisely what makes them such magnetic and unforgettable partners, such fiercely devoted friends, and such relentless and successful achievers. When they channel this immense passion into something positive, they can generate the energy to move mountains. They infuse their relationships and their goals with an intensity that makes everything feel more vibrant, more meaningful, and more alive. However, this passionate energy is a fundamental force of their nature, and like gravity, it flows in both directions. When they are wounded, betrayed, or disrespected, that same colossal reserve of passion fuels their negative emotions. A deep and abiding love can curdle into an equally deep and abiding heartbreak. Unwavering, ride-or-die loyalty can flip into an immovable, absolute wall of silence. Their emotional spectrum is not a gentle gradient. It is a vast landscape of towering peaks and abyssal trenches. You cannot control someone whose very life force is this intense, untamable fire. There is no dimmer switch. Their passion is the fuel for their entire being. But it also makes them volatile and unpredictable to those who are not prepared for its heat. If they sense dishonesty or disrespect, that radiant fire can turn into a chilling, absolute cold with terrifying speed. You are never in a state of lukewarm indifference with a Scorpio. You either matter to them with the full, undivided force of their being, or you cease to matter at all. The middle ground is a barren, grey wasteland they refuse to inhabit. Scorpio spirits. They're like a vast, mysterious sea, full of hidden currents. Charting those waters demands a healthy dose of deference, rock-solid integrity, and the guts to explore their incredible inner world. Prepare yourself, because connecting with them has the potential to completely reshape your existence. They give so much, but their only request is your unvarnished honesty. Thanks for being here with us as we explored this fascinating subject. Catch you in the next episode.